Welcome to Faces Friday. This is a mini-series on leadership, and I first talked about the importance in this time of challenge of people leadership, of building relationships and establishing trust by doing our work together. Then in the last two sessions, I talked about the importance of being knowledgeable or having knowledgeable others walk alongside us. And last session, I talked about mobilizing our teams, ensuring that we're cheering for the successes of all of us. Those who are walking alongside us and thinking about moving our whole staff to a whole school, whole system approach by mobilizing the work and focusing on the faces of our students. In this session, I'm going to talk about sustainability. My research with Michael Fullen talked about mobilizability, talked about knowledge ability, and importantly, sustainability. And it's something we don't often think about. We think about being in the present, just doing the work. But we need to stop and think about how we're going to sustain the work if we have the opportunity to be elsewhere. So we all have the opportunity to be in other places. We want to make sure that we leave leaders and teachers behind who can do the work and not even notice that we're gone. So leaders who think about sustainability, think about developing a culture that is about we. As Michael Fullen and I said, that is a culture where we talk about our school, our students, our classrooms. So we're moving the conversation from my students to our students, owning all the faces of all of our students. As well, we want to, as leaders who sustain the work, model that we develop other leaders who walk alongside us and know that mistakes are okay. In a culture that is trustworthy and exciting to be in, we have to acknowledge it's okay to make mistakes. So when we're thinking about sustaining the work, we want that risk-free environment to work in. Dr. Alma Harris talks about distributing the leadership, and that's a really important concept for us to really uphold, to think about how we give others responsibility to lead and not always do the checkup on them, but actually trust them to do the leading, to do the work, and knowing that we'll be there for support. Leaders who sustain think about human and material resources. Human resources to me are about time. We always are short of time. So leaders who want to sustain the work find time for teachers and leaders to work together, to co-plan, to co-teach, to co-debrief, to co-reflect, and build those aspiring leaders who can work alongside other leaders as well. And when we think about resources as materials, we think about sustaining the work by ensuring that teachers have the resources to work with, the just-in-time resources. Leaders who sustain their work think about the value add and what's valued in the culture they're leading and what can be deleted because it's not necessary. So we're always scrutinizing our actions and determining what's value add, what will lead the whole staff, the whole group forward. Leaders who sustain leave many leaders behind. They nurture leaders, aspiring leaders. They're really practical in tapping teachers on the shoulder and saying, have you ever thought about, would you like this opportunity too? So when they leave, there are many leaders who step up and continue the work. As well, it's really important that leaders who sustain think about transparency of leading. Think about always returning to the vision and sharing the actions alongside. So to me, co-construction is what leaders who sustain the work really understand. They work alongside, they co-construct data walls, they're at the case management meetings, they're learning alongside our teachers to be able to teach all students. And finally, our leaders who walk the talk, take teachers alongside them, take people who are aspiring leaders to walk alongside and look for evidence of improvement. So to me, sustainability isn't something we think about every day because we're so busy in the busyness of leading, but we really need to think about sustaining our work of system and school improvement. Thanks for joining me on this Faces Friday. Next week, I'll talk about the ability to imagine what's possible. Imagine ability. Join me next Friday. See you then.